Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Vermilion. I'm your host, Rachel Newville. Wake Up Vermilion is a talk show by students for students. Our goal is to deliver accurate information that will spark conversations around campus. If you missed our last show, go to our YouTube page, Wake Up Vermilion, where we talked with Josh Sorby and Keaton Dieter about students' struggle with social media and the desire to go viral. This week, I am joined by USD student pageant participant Amber Hulse and USD track athlete Laura Bowman. We decided to look at the 2011 documentary, Miss Representation. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
There is no appreciation for women intellectuals. It's all about the body, not about the brain.
You all saw the photo from the weekend of Hillary looking so haggard and looking like 92 years old.
Breast implants. Did you have them or not?
If you waterboarded Nancy Pelosi, she wouldn't admit to plastic surgery.
The fact that media are so derogatory to the most powerful women in the country, then what does it say about media's ability to take any woman in America seriously?
I have close friends that will go to the bathroom and put on like 10 pounds of makeup, and you're at school to learn.
As a culture, women are brought up to be fundamentally insecure.
Media creates consciousness. And if what gets put out there that creates our consciousness is determined by men, we're not going to make any progress.
Little boys and little girls, when they're 7 years old, an equal number want to be president of the United States when they grow up. But then you ask the same question when they're 15, and you see this massive gap emerging.
We're shortchanging voices that are urgently needed in public forums from ever getting to the table.
As the most powerful country in the world, if you're not standing for the right values and for the right principles, that's a loss for the world.
You get a woman in the Oval Office, most powerful person in the world, what's the downside?
You mean besides the PMS and the mood swings?
The media treats women like and it's horrible, and it's like, I don't know how we survive it. I don't know how we rise above it.
You can't be what you can't see.
It's extremely important for women to be writing their own stories and giving them to people to really emotionally become impacted by.
The media can be an instrument of change. It can awaken people and change minds. It depends on who's piloting the plane.
Keeps beating like a hammer.
Okay, so after watching some of those highlights, what are your guys' thoughts on this production of this documentary?
Well, we watched this movie in my Women in Politics political science class last year, and I didn't really realize and wasn't really aware of how much of it was in the media until they really pointed it out in that video, especially. And I learned about like different images where they like cut off women's faces and like how that can be derogatory when you don't include like the identity of a woman. And it really started to make me realize like how much it is important to hear women's stories and like really hear it from the woman in the story, because a lot of times there is misrepresentation of like the women's side of the story.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
agree with that. I think I was not thinking about how much this is around us because we're so used to it. And as I was watching this, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is everywhere, but it's so normalized that it doesn't even seem strange because it's just a normal part of music videos, of magazines, of television. So.
Yeah, and I think it's a normal part of like our daily lives here. So let's kind of roll this back. How much time do you guys take to get ready on an average day?
If I'm going to work where I have to look professional, like 20 minutes, but if it's for athletics, like 5, maybe 6.
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, I'm a pageant girl, but I still, like, on an average day, it won't take me more than, like, 30 minutes to get ready in the morning. I mean, I'll run out the door in my, like, sweatpants and sweatshirt like everybody else, but for, like, pageants, it probably takes me no more than an hour to get ready, even for, like, stage makeup and everything.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, like, some of the girls sit in the dressing room for, like, hours, but that's not, me at all.
I think, too, like, even for TV stuff, I know that I used to take way longer to get ready than I do now, just because it comes, I think, so much of an easier routine. So there's definitely different routines for like a normal day versus going out. Do you think that there's an expectation for different places you go to look a different way?
Oh,
absolutely.
Like makeup, which it just, like you're supposed to wear it in some situations as a female, which isn't like very fun all the time. Sometimes you just want to be yourself, or making sure your hair looks nice. Like you can't put your hair up in a bun to go to certain places, or like to look professional. A guy doesn't have to spend extra time to look professional, whereas
I get frustrated when we go on like student trips where the schedules are really packed and the boys can go from wearing their like t-shirts and like sweatpants in the bus and go into a McDonald's bathroom and change in 5 seconds and look perfectly fine. Whereas girls, it's very noticeable if your schedule has been packed that you didn't have the adequate time to like look how you're supposed to look and curl your hair and get ready in those situations. And that's frustrating to me.
Yeah, like the whole idea of a lunch workout. You can't do that if you're a girl and you have to go back to work and look nice because you're sweaty. Or you're looking or not, but you know,
Just those little things in the day that males maybe don't have to think about as much as females. So you two both come from kind of different worlds where body image is really important and your bodies are kind of on the spotlight. I mean, in athletics, it's all about what your body can do to do these incredible things and have these accomplishments. And I think in pageants and even your political science student in politics, women's bodies are very focused on. So what types of experiences have you guys seen in your different fields with body image and females amongst you, your peers, different things like that?
I come from a world where the Miss America pageant just took out our swimsuit portion specifically because we didn't want to make it about what your body looks like, but more about what you have to say. And I'm very appreciative of that. And one of the girls competing that is very in favor of this change, where a lot of girls aren't. And I think that's because I never did it because I wanted to do a pageant. I always did it because of a lot of the other things that you got to do going along with pageantry. That is to say, though, I did do like a Miss USA pageant once, and that one's very focused on like modeling and looking a certain way. And that was a negative experience for me because I didn't have that like specific body type of what they wanted you to look like. And I felt like the fat kid when I competed in that pageant. So like there's a complete spectrum, I think, of pageantry that a lot of people don't know about. But that's just a personal experience that I had.
No, track is definitely, it's unique in the sense, and it's beautiful in the sense that, like you said, it's what you can do. But that being said, you know, we compete in spandex and tank tops. For throwing, you're the only one in the ring. Like, people are looking at you. It actually took me a whole summer to get used to the idea of, like, you have to wear spandex in a meet. Like, I had to practice wearing them because it was so uncomfortable at first. But it is something where you become used to people looking at you. I think, like I said, the beautiful thing about athletics is you know that it's more about what you can do, but you still have, you know that there's eyes on you, and there's an expectation to look a certain way. So I was a soccer player here, and I feel you when you talked about the pageant, because I was like, I totally felt like everyone thought I was a goalie, and I was like, no, like I play forward, just because like I felt like the fat kid, totally. But you know, you get used to being looked at, and sometimes it's okay, and sometimes you're uncomfortable with it. But.
Well, I know definitely. I watched Misrepresentation for the first time a couple of years ago, and I didn't even realize how much what was out there was affecting my perception of the media until I saw something like that. So I think it's interesting to kind of take a minute to reflect on what there all is out there around us to look at. So we did a poll on Twitter that asked what people were kind of interested in looking at. And I think over half of our respondents said that self-doubt was a really big thing that they thought about when they thought about body image. Do you have a time where you think of self-doubt ever, or where you're doing anything with your body image or even just yourself? I did a story last semester, a series of stories on women in politics and leadership positions. And women across the board, old, young, middle-aged, all said that self-doubt is a huge thing that women face, and research shows that as well. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I've done pageants since I was 13. And when I turned 17, you have to start doing swimsuit as a miss. And so I was a senior in high school and had to compete in swimsuit in the city that I grew up in, where the state pageant was held. So many girls come from across the state and then they compete. So it's a little bit easier when you're not from the town that you're doing it in. But it was my first time, and it was in front of my entire town. So here I am, like, walking across the stage in my underwear in front of my second grade teacher, or, you know, my ex-boyfriend's dad, or, you know, something awkward like that. That would be awkward anyway. And you're put in those scenarios, and, like, the doubt, you know, being in the gym and, like, being really hard on yourself and not having body positivity about, you know, working out, not because you want to be healthy, but because you want to look good for that moment. And then if you can't lift that weight, or if you didn't go that day, and the doubt that you have because you didn't do everything that you wanted to do, or you don't look the way that you wanted to look, or you don't look like those girls in those pictures. That was really hard for me, especially as like a senior in high school. That was definitely something that really made me have a negative sense towards pageantry, which is why I'm really glad that they took that out. But
yeah, I bet that'd be really hard.
Yeah,
I would have tripped. I think as far as self-doubt, it's something where in athletics, I don't feel it as much.
Yeah.
Because it's what you can do.
Mhm.
And it's funny, like I think when I'm in that like athletic realm, I don't think as much what I look like, but outside of it, that totally is what it is. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you take like a group picture and I'm like, oh my gosh, my legs are bigger than everyone's. Like, everyone's gonna notice this. And that was kind of when it would hit, like, am I not supposed to be like this? Like, am I not supposed to have the body type I do? None of my friends look like me, or like, I'm in a photo with like the cross country team, like, yikes. And then I would feel so bad, but then I was like, Clara, stop, like, you know, like, what you do is great, and you should be confident in that, and remember that just because you don't look like everyone else isn't a bad thing.
Yeah,
So.
definitely. And I think it's like you guys have both talked about kind of the surprise element of what you can do outside of just what you look like. That's really amazing. So, yeah. What are other things with body image that you think just as college females should be talked about more? Or what do you think a way to actually achieve true body positivity is?
I mean, I think that you just have to like love that your body is like your vehicle to like live. Like you will only be here for however many like years or days that you will be on this earth, and like your body is the vehicle that you will be like moving in that whole time. So regardless of if you're 6 feet taller, if you're 4 feet taller, if you're fat, slim, whatever you've got it, and that's what you've got. And so like love it for what it is. And like I hate fashion. I hate the fashion industry. I hate like the whole like what's trendy, what's not, because it makes like certain body types be valued more than others. And you just kind of love what you've got. And I think that's what pageants have really taught me, is that even though I had to walk out on stage in my underwear, that it made me have to be like, yep, this is what my body looks like. So everybody get a good look, because this is what I got. And I'm gonna rock it. And I think that that's really important to, you know, walk out of your door every day and know that like this is my body, so like I love it, so everybody else should too. And to not like have other women be negative about other women's bodies, because I think that's the most important too, is women supporting other women.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think too, just like you said, remembering, at least for me, like I found a lot of like meaning in what I was able to do as I was stronger growing up.
Yeah.
And I never quite found like a place to use it. And I always wanted to change it and make it less so. And when I found something that let me be exactly who I was and then be even more of it, it was so cool. Like it was so exciting. Because as a soccer player, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, good thing I don't like do arms, because if my arms were like my legs, that would be like the end of the world. Like I remember saying this to someone on the soccer team. And then something with throwing, like we like do arms all the time. And it's great and it's so much fun. So yeah, finding like what makes you feel like yourself and embrace the differences in who you are.
Awesome. Well, thank you ladies so much for joining us this morning to talk about body image. After the break, we'll be back with the top fake news headlines from the past 2 weeks.
Yoga has a way of spilling over into other areas of your life, so lessons that we learn on the mat seem to go with us when we walk out the door. And yoga teaches us to listen to our bodies, to ask for permission, and to learn ways of healing and balancing our bodies.
Interested in media? Contact the Cross Media Council.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Rachel Newville, and this is Fake Newsville. Today, we'll be talking about the Fyre Festival documentaries by Netflix and Hulu, and the viral tweets about 21 Savage in ICE custody. Last month, Netflix and Hulu each released a documentary about the Fyre Music Festival that failed in 2017. Fyre Festival promised a Caribbean escape in luxurious villas with concerts from musical groups like Migos and Blink-182. While Hulu and Netflix both produced quality documentaries, watching both back-to-back does a great job of showing how there are so many details that can be left out of a story. The films tell the story of hyped up and heavily promoted Fyre Festival.
all these models, like in the Bahamas. The most insane festival the world has ever seen.
It was billed as the hottest music festival of 2017, but turned out to be a big scam.
This is what they got. Disaster relief tents and mattresses piled up in the dirt.
Almost 2 years after the ill-fated Fyre Festival, 2 documentaries about the much-hyped event are being released within days of each other. Netflix announced Fyre, the greatest party that never happened, would launch on January 18th.
Go to Fyre Festival.
Could be amazing.
Both productions have been criticized. The Netflix documentary was produced with Jerry Media and Matt Projects, who also produced the promotion of the actual Fyre Festival. Hulu seems to have the edge when first watching the documentaries, as they got an interview with the mastermind himself, Billy McFarland. However, when taking a closer look, it has been confirmed McFarland did accept payment to interview with Hulu. These 2 documentaries, coming out a few days apart, are a great example of how a story can change based on what facts inside the stories are shared. While the Super Bowl was underwhelming, Twitter picked up activity with news that 21 Savage was taken into custody by ICE. ICE claims that 21 Savage is a United Kingdom national and is in the US with outdated paperwork. The internet was filled with confusion and memes about the news. News broke last Monday that he indeed is from the UK. While reports were true, there is still a lot up in the air about the rapper's detainment. The spread of memes sharing the news show how there are now new ways information is shared, not by official sources, but can happen by memes and social media posts. Other celebrity buzz surrounding the Super Bowl was spread of the rumor that Travis Scott was going to propose to girlfriend Kylie Jenner at the Super Bowl. This started on pure speculation, but had the entire internet talking about how he was going to propose during America's most watched game. The last week has been filled with memes sharing information. This makes it that much more important to make sure that the information we are sharing on social media is factual. And that's this week's top fake news headlines. After the break, I'll be back with Kelly and Molly to talk about USD students' Valentine's Day plans and Molly's first time playing Battlefield 4. Stay with us.
Oh my gosh!
What are you reading?
An article saying Abbott's taking his job back.
There's no way that's true.
It says so right here.
I wish there was a way we could get reliable news information. Welcome back. We're here with our campus correspondent, Kelly, and our gaming guru, Molly.
Happy to be here, Rachel. With love and other toxic chemicals in the air, Valentine's Day will soon be upon us.
Many people fantasize about kissing their favorite actor or actress, musician, or even U.S. president. I'm here in the muck to talk to students about who they would kiss, dead or alive. Okay, if you could kiss anybody dead or alive, who would it be?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
Who would kiss somebody dead? I'm gonna have to go with.
Will they be alive when you're kissing them? Like.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna go with Ariana Grande.
What about you?
Probably Channing Tatum.
Amelia Clark.
I'd say Zac Efron, probably. Yeah, probably. Nate Archibald off of Gossip Girl.
Oh my gosh.
On the forehead, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
If you could kiss anybody dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, Matthew McConaughey.
Quick answer.
We're gonna go with Offset, the Migos rapper.
Awesome.
George Bush.
Which one, HW or W?
The one that's still alive.
Rachel, Molly, who would you kiss, dead or alive?
I think I would kiss John Adams.
Quincy? No Quincy.
Quincy's the son, right?
Yeah.
I like the dad, so just John Adams.
Okay.
I would have to say Jeff Goldblum. I really like when he cooks.
Nice, that's a good choice.
Yeah. So I decided to test my Battlefield 4 skills and met up with some of the top gamers in North Complex. Take a look. We are here in North Complex at the University of South Dakota to play some Battlefield 4. So follow me, we're gonna introduce you to the squad.
Good, I like that.
Hey guys, so this is the bros I'm gonna be gaming with tonight. So wanna introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Connor Collins, gamer tag is Ramman_13.
Lucas Crownover, gamer tag Crownover00.
I am AJ Jungers, and my gamer tag is Profane Name.
High ping levels on the screen there. That's always good. I've heard. I have heard that. That's one of the things that I Googled this morning. Do you know what a noob tube is?
It's a grenade launcher.
Yeah. I thought I'd get you. Let's dump ya. Okay, what are the A's and the B's?
Okay, those are points here. Follow me.
Where did you go?
Behind. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll just come with you.
I'm in an elevator. Go into the elevator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
Yep.
All right.
Now you're going up.
We're gonna die.
Going up.
We're gonna die.
Well, with that attitude, yeah, we are AJ.
Turn around.
Oh, this is the door now.
There we go.
Yep, other door. There you go. You're
Run
still
out.
alive.
Go.
You're still alive.
Oh, there's a guy to your left. Do you see him?
No.
Nope.
Right there.
Right.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
Oh, it's so sensitive.
Oh, I got you.
That was hard. But now we're getting it.
All right, I'm gonna spawn in the helicopter. You wanna?
What do I do?
Spawn on me.
Spawn.
So, okay.
Spawn on me. That's what she
didn't
said.
work. Oh my god. All right.
I just
Go to your left.
left, other left.
Your other left.
Yep.
That's whoa.
That's
you went
right.
right.
Now you're backwards.
There you go.
That's left.
There's a tank.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
That's
Shoot
an
him!
enemy parachute.
Get him!
Shoot him.
I'm trying. I had to get it.
No, you gotta shoot at him. The die has to be on him. Oh my goodness.
There. Oh.
Shoot!
He moved so fast.
He's not even. They got him. Don't worry.
Last man in squad. Oh no, it's all up to me.
Go defend that.
Defend what?
The objective.
Defend.
This.
So you can swim.
I can swim.
Yeah.
Can I do a breaststroke?
Yes.
It says a front crawl. Where'd my gun go? Who's shooting at me? Can I go under the water? So have you ever wall banged someone?
Yeah.
In the
There's guys.
grenade! How do I run away?
Shoot him. But there's still
Shoot
that
him,
way.
shoot him. Do you know what a wall bang is?
Yeah. It's when you kill somebody through a wall without even seeing them.
I thought I'd stump you guys more with these.
Yes.
The building's going down.
Look at the building.
Wow.
I'm young
To your right.
timber.
On your analog.
You can do it on the other one.
On the what?
That's
The analog?
So just like push it left.
Like a clock?
Or down now. Oh, yeah, no, do that, except add a person.
Okay. Can do. Oh.
Oh, no. Oh, you gotcha.
There's
Shoot.
guys right in front.
Shoot.
Close.
Oh, what?
Just spawned it.
Okay, that is just. That was the lag. The game lagged.
Oh, got you.
Hit X.
Get back up.
That was lag. That was. Why am I on the ground?
Oh, shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him.
Shooting them. Shooting them. It's foggy.
Hold L1.
L1. Oh, Danathan got me again.
Told you 3 times.
He's got it out for me. Grenade.
That's one.
He's gonna team.
Look at this.
He's right there. He's literally.
Oh my gosh!
Set him down a little bit. Wide turn lane.
Get out of here. Get out of town.
They're two behind you to the right.
How do you know where they are?
It shows on the screen.
Where?
Get kicked.
Should I shoot this dude?
Shoot the mannequin. Practice a little bit. Yeah, you
Headshot.
killed that mannequin.
A headshot. He doesn't have a head.
Look, you got them all. They all fell over.
Just goes to show you, if there's not a moving target, you can't stop her.
If they were standing
Dude, that's
still,
glass. You
I'd be
can't-
killing
Maybe
it.
you can.
What happens if I walk through this fire?
Probably burn.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah, you're getting hurt.
Oh, okay, don't do that. Note to self, not fireproof.
Some similar rules to real life, like fire hurts, you can't walk through glass.
Oh,
What got you?
I don't know. Every time I'm so close yet so far away. Well, thank you guys. I was faced with a lot of challenges tonight, but I think I did a good job overcoming them. I've learned some strengths and also a lot of weaknesses, so.
Lots of weaknesses.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Gal.
Pleasure.
Thanks for swinging by.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Well, it turns out I'm not much of a guru after all.
I promise you I would have been worse. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Wake Up Vermilion.
A special thanks to Coyote News for letting us use their studio.
Thanks again to our guests Laura Bowman and Amber Hulse. Be sure to follow us on social media at Wake Up Vermilion for funny updates throughout Valentine's Day week.
Make sure you don't miss our next episode, Monday, February 24th.
Thanks for waking up with us, Vermilion. See you next time.